I gotta hear what that sounds like. Okay, so I just want to make this video. Hey, I always say it's going to be short, so I'm not even going to say it this time, and watch, it will be. It's about kids, man. Kids should shut the fuck up. They shouldn't be talking on adult issues. See, when I was a child, I wasn't raised by a boomer because my parents split, so my grandma was really the one who raised me. So I was raised by old school people, you know, those people you hear about in like, once upon a time in a land far away, there was a princess and a prince, you know, those old time fairy tale stories. So grandma came from those days, right? She came from days of, because my family doesn't, they aren't breeding at like 16, 17. They all wait until they're older generally. I mean, most of them do, except, my direct family, for sure. So grandma was older, and she was from a generation that had class and didn't act like trash. And they had to live like that. They had no other choice until, we had this abundance of bullshit in our society that we just use and abuse and we don't care about at all anymore. Especially the boomer generation. This new generation coming up, I think y'all got something else going on. I think some of you are really trying to kick this system in the teeth. Even some of these liberals, I think most of what they're doing is they're just trying to kick the system in the teeth as hard as they can. They got no parents. They don't know what's going on. The alt-right, they ain't got no parents probably. They don't know what's going on. They're being raised by the TV and the internet. See, grandma was different than that. Grandma gave you a set time to watch TV. I don't even see why grandma watched TV at all. That was weird. She eventually got propagandized and was watching it herself. She didn't do that all the time, right? And what grandma really stressed is that children are children, and you better shut up and listen. That's the way people used to be in this world until boomer generation came along and they were busy watching TV all the time instead of raising their kids. And now the kids think they should be talking about adult matters, and they shouldn't be. I'm like, it's like a freaking prodigy as a kid. And the first thing I knew, the only thing I felt I knew, besides math and some reading and writing, was that I should shut up when adults are speaking. I shouldn't be in the streets protesting, even if I'd watched the TV and I felt maybe we shouldn't be killing these people across seas. I didn't understand any of that. I didn't understand, what was going on there, what was behind it. So I couldn't voice my opinion on it because it would be an uneducated opinion on what was going on. And this is similar with the kids calling to disarm America. To be honest though, I think Daniel Pratt's right. They're just threatening to take the gun rights away, and these gun owners are scared to use them against the government. I don't think you're going to be able to do anything at this point. The government is so large, and they have so many slaves. I don't know. Black people are like 99% ready to get rid of them, but black people are really only like 10% of the population, and those numbers might even be skewed one way or the other. So, there's not any white people who are going to right now, none of them are going to rebel against the system. You're not, the Second Amendment, what the hell is it doing? They're like collecting guns, and they're like, it's so cool, it's a gun. Yeah, it looks cool, it's cool, it's use. Why it's legal in America to get rid of tyrants who are in tyrant empires who are invading lands over and over, and they have no respect for humans, and you got to defend yourself from them. That is exactly what it's legal for. But I don't think they're going to use it for that. I think Daniel Pratt's right. They talk a lot about it, And while they're threatening to take your Second Amendment right, they're taking everything else. Everything else is like gone. Like, we haven't been able to speak on the radio and the books, nothing like that. And the comic books taking over. I mean, the comic books. Everything's got to be taken over if you get to the point where you're taking over comic books. But to be honest, they kind of had to start with that. Although it looks like they may have started with plays in America, theater, and they had to go to comics because in the 1940s the government told Hollywood it's time to shut up about this pro-war stuff. They don't want to see none of that, so they backdoored. They went out secret. They went to Superman and Captain America and all that stuff to turn the children pro-war. That way the next generation, the people coming up, would be pro-war, and think it's time to kill these people who are calling them out. Germany. And I mean, it just goes on from there. It's still like they still use that as like the same thing. They use it as multicultural, but at the same time, all these multicultural outlets will still find a way to teach you to terrorize Arabs. The liberals are on the same freaking bandwagon. Kill ISIS. All you gotta do is stop saying Arabs, then stop saying Muslims, and start saying ISIS, and they're like, yeah, kill them. And it's really, they're not doing much. They're not really opposing the system. They're just buying into the new story each time. But the children are like being used as the soldiers here. And I'm guessing back in the 60s that this is exactly what happened too. And then they turned them on to like where their main thing in life was just doing drugs and having sex with each other. And that's not a thing you can advertise in first world societies, because we have to work to build these societies. We can't just give up the goods and sit around and do nothing. And so now they're using the children to take the guns away. They're like, I don't know. I know my school system. I looked directly on their website. The school leader is like basically hurting these kids to do this. And these kids have no idea. They shouldn't be talking on adult matters. But this wisdom has been lost because the boomer generation it failed. See, the generation right before the boomer did start implementing the Federal Reserve and all that stuff. But that was kind of trickery, and not meaning to give them a way to get out, but they did implement that, and that's fine for a Social Security net. I mean, I'm seeing these people built this stuff, and everyone else is just wrecking it, so maybe they should be the only ones who do get some money from the government. But at the same time, the government's just going to stop Social Security and take their money from them because they can't. They feed off weak people. They prey on weak people. When you go to war and you come back and you're damaged goods, you're no longer a young kid who can fight, they start preying on you. When you've been a worker your whole life and you built a country and you feel like you can't work anymore because your knees and your back's messed up and all this, they prey on you. When you're a third world country who has a gold mine or something like that, or doesn't have a centralized bank, they prey on you because you're weak. That's why they're preying on you. But these kids, they're preying on their minds because they know they can get in there so easy. Edward Bernays brags, in his book Propaganda, about getting the women and children, and then they'll use the women and children to control and manipulate the men, because he basically says they can't do, they can't manipulate the men like that. But these children in the streets, they have no idea what they're doing. I started talking, literally, because I didn't talk like 20, 30, like over 30 years of my life. I shut up and listen, which is probably how it should be. I mean, if you want to get somewhere, if you want to become intelligent, you have to shut up and listen. You're not born intelligent, children. Children protesting anti-gun rights, you're not intelligent. Sorry to break it to you. I'm a fucking prodigy. I'm fucking telling you the facts. Even as a prodigy, I knew I was stupid, right? Bottom line, stupid. I didn't understand anything that was going on in the world. I still don't understand most things in this world. There's a lot of people with special skills. They call me prodigy, gifted, and talented, but there's mechanics who do so much stuff I don't understand yet. I only do so much on my car. I don't know how to take apart a transmission. I don't know how to take apart an engine. There's other things too in this world that other people can do. It kind of sets you apart to be put in these labels and in these categories when the school itself is simply not catering to people with intelligence in other fields. And those kids are actually kind of smarter because they don't pay attention in school. I feel like an idiot sometimes because I paid attention for so long. And it's like, where did that get me? Like, eventually I started kicking the system, and that got me out to where I could eventually think for myself. But the children shouldn't be in the street protesting anything. I started this stuff going into the Occupy Wall Street, and I noticed right away that these were just kids, angry kids, voicing their concern. The type of angry kid who doesn't have the guts to throw a rock at a cop car or throw a rock through your window, or that light some fireworks and throw them on your porch and throw some eggs at your house. They just seem like angry college kids who didn't know anything. And it's like, even getting first into it, I didn't know anything, but I was like, well, we're just sitting around talking. Let's find out what's going on. Let's see who owns these banks. The banks are so bad. I mean, a bank doesn't run itself just yet. So who owns the banks? And when I got into that, it's like they didn't really want it. And then it was taken over by like NBC, ABC. They would split off people like Sink Ugert and then create TYT and call it alternative. And then the Wolf Pack came out, and they took over this Occupy Wall Street stuff, and no one even named anything about Wall Street. Where is Wall Street? It's in Israel, aka New York. It's, who's it ran by? It's ran by Israelis, aka New Yorkers. Who owns these banks? Well, it's obviously, it's probably the Israelis, aka New Yorkers. And they never got to that. I watched them for there's probably still Occupy Wall Street people out there, and they never got to that. So I left the move, I just moved on, like libertarian, truther. Then the alt-right came along, but by that time I'd already realized, this is a scam. This isn't right. These groups are all lying. Ron Paul was like a deceptor. He was like a face mask. And Ron Paul acts scared as fuck too. I mean, that's like one thing. Like, why was Ron Paul so scared? He should have been perfectly fine, but he was like real timid, and he was like kind of shaky and stuff. I hate to give him a way out for clearly knowing what he was doing, but I mean, it's hard to judge him, in anything other than the truth of what you see of him. The other people don't act scared and don't act timid. They knowingly are doing what they're doing, even though they might be blackmailed. David Duke, Don Black, they've been to prison before. I have no doubt in my mind that there's a small chance they were legit at one time and then they were blackmailed. There's a small chance Trump's family wasn't really Jewish, and then the Purim occultic ritual took place, and now he can never oppose it. But I've also at the same time, whatever tweeting does, I'll create an account and get banned right away. But, I'll send him a couple tweets, like, show him what Purim is and show him how his children are all part of this thing. And he doesn't care. He pushes the agenda further. I mean, he has to. He's got no choice. If he wants to see, if he's so arrogant, which of course he is. Of course, you don't get to that position without being arrogant. You don't get to the banker's position without thinking you're so great. So a lot of these people who think they're great, they think they should spread their genetics in the world. And, that's personally, I think breederism is pure arrogance, but that's another discussion. But he's, even if he is taken over, he's it's too late. He's going to protect his family. He's got that arrogance about him. His dad, it sounds like Fred sent him away to military school, but he's not done that to his children. He's not gonna do that. You think Fred Trump was gonna let Donald Trump get plastic surgery? Hell no, not if he sent him to military school or whatever type of boarding school he sent him to. But he did that, for his children, like when they were teens. It's like, that's like pure, your mind's manipulated by a little child at this point. You're definitely not going to turn on your masters. But, the Occupy Wall Street, it didn't go anywhere because it was just children being mad. And then kind of the libertarians were the next wave to trap the next wave of people. And then the alt-right was kind of like the next wave to trap the next wave. And they changed, they changed liberal, Republican, and that kind of goes with the cycle. You got the 8-year cycle. It can be 4 on, 4 off, or it can be 8 on, 8 off, or it can be 8 on, 4 off, 4 on, 8 on, any mixture. It's always a 4 or 8 in this country due to the laws of who can run for presidency. And because George Washington wanted it that way. And so you have these children doing this bidding, and a lot of times they're just like in the instance of the 3 groups I just named, starting with Occupy Wall Street, I seen that they were just a distraction. And Daniel Pratt also brought up that it just sounds like a freaking distraction to talk about the Second Amendment because no one's going to use it. And that is correct. Like I said in another video, you're not going to find people who are going to be able to overturn the frickin' system. The system it's like its own demonic entity. It's taken upon its own life, even if the people we call to get rid of are gotten rid of. The people in the system are like indoctrinated by this entity, and I think it's much too late. It's definitely, you can't get like, what are you going to get, like every gun owner in America get off their couch? They're all, 50, 60-year-olds and go do something? Go, rebel against the government? Probably not, bro. It doesn't happen. See, what always has been, this has never happened. An empire's never been taken over by its own people. It gets collapsed by invaders, and then every time a small group of people who were fully aware of what was going on and were preparing for it, preparing for the movement, they left that area. Even the Germans, who were, treated badly by all the empires, they knew it was join or die. So they would join, and then when the time came, they would splinter back into being Germans. So you've got all this stuff going on. You got the kids continually being used, and they don't know what they're doing because they're just kids. You got their parents who refuse to discipline them. You got the parents who refuse to educate them. They're on their own, and that's going to make some of these people smarter, I think. But eventually, they need to be taught first. They can't. They have almost a blank slate except for what's on TV. And once you tell them that TV is lying, then you're going to get close to your blank slate to be able to reteach them. But they are being used as pawns, and it's because no one's simply telling them, shut up, your children. You don't speak on adult matters. You don't speak on adult matters. Adults built the world. If they want to wreck it, they get to wreck it, right? You know what I'm saying? Look at Rachel Corrie when she got killed. I mean, she wanted to, at first she was speaking on world hunger. That has nothing to do with the Palestinian situation. The Palestinian situation is Jewish takeover, Jewish land grabs, psychopathy. It's got nothing to do with world hunger. And then in her ignorance, she thought she could sit in front of a bulldozer of people who are mass murdering people continually as a protest. And I'm sorry, that's not going to work. They don't care about you. They don't have laws over there. The only people who enforce some sort of global law is supposed to be America, and America is like Israel's bitch because New York is Israel, and it's pretty much like the capital. New York and Cali and DC are like the capitals of America. So it's too late for that. The children are making the wrong fucking moves, and they're being continually deceived, so they need to be shut down. You know, they, and the whole Second Amendment debate, it's so skewed. No one on any side simply says it. The guns are there to kill criminal empires who are invading lands and acting like terrorists. We dethroned the UK empire, so our leaders said, when they tried to take the guns, that's what it was about. That's when it started. They were like, we're tired of you guys having guns, basically, and then pop, like someone accidentally shot one of the Brits, or their gun accidentally went off. It goes a story, and you know, that was like the beginning of it. There was no taking guns after that because it was the fight was on. But that's what it's there for. It's there to defend against criminal governments. It's not for hunting squirrels. It's not for hunting a crackhead in your neighborhood who comes and rob you. You can do that stuff with it. Good luck with the criminal government. It's illegal to hunt squirrels, and it's illegal to hunt crackheads who break into your house. And it's illegal to hunt criminal governments because the second you're even like, no one will even say it. They're so fucking scared of the government. But that's the only gun right you need. I think Fabio said it, actually. I think Fabio said something along those lines. I didn't watch the full video, but the headline, yeah, we know how those work, right? They're usually misleading to defame the wrong people or to incite the wrong thing, making you think you got some backup. But I believe Fabio said, you know, that pretty much that's why they're there. Sounded like it from the headline. So, no one's saying that. You know, the gun people aren't saying that the guns are there to protect you from the criminal government who wants to take the guns away. The guns are there to protect you from the government when they try to take the guns away. The guns are there to shoot the government when they try to take your guns away. The guns are there to kill the government when they try to take the guns away. That's how it happened in history. That's why George Washington and pals made the guns legal. They didn't care about squirrels. They didn't have a crackhead problem back then. Crackhead problem solved itself before Generation Boomer and Endless Surplus came along. You know, if you was a crackhead, you was dead. That was that. There was no crack back then. They didn't even invent crack. They probably reasonably used marijuana, cocaine, and opiates as needed, as wanted, to the point they could still function properly. You know? The children just need to shut up. You need to shut up and listen to the adults. You know, for once in your life, I know in your households, your parents, there is no adult. Your parents are children. They're watching TV all the time. They don't know anything anymore. They're not educating you. They're not trying to do anything. But the public schools telling you to do this shit, they're bad news. The public schools are really bad news. I still haven't done that video. I kind of did it before, but I was testing an environment and the sound was bad half the way, and plus environment I was in. I'm not sure if I should upload that. I'll definitely get some attention at doing videos in the shower, but I'm not sure if I want to go that route, especially because the volume levels. But you know, I kind of practice it. It's important I practice that because I myself forget my past. And as I spoke it, I was remembering, you know, things that happened and starting in different places I totally forgot existed in my life. But the children, y'all got to shut up when adults are speaking on adults matter. The government's criminal. I mean, how many of you liberals think the government's a good person? They're not good people. Why are they talking about disarming you and all that? You know, everything they do is bad. They can't do anything good anymore. I guarantee you that. And you want healthcare, it's already there. I don't understand that lie. But everything they're doing, it's because they want you in the healthcare system so they can medicate you if you start talking too much. ODD, oppositional defiance disorder, all that. You've got a mental problem, and they've got $1 million worth of drugs they need to sell to your family, and $1 million worth of drugs to sell to the neighbors, and $1 million worth of drugs to sell to other neighbors. And then that all goes back to the government and the corporations who run it. Everything this government says is bad. Assume, like everything these schools says is bad, it's not important for 90% of you to know, advanced math, advanced reading, it's not important at all for you to know frickin' politics, the politics they teach, the edited empire politics that are designed to keep the empire from unraveling, not designed to educate you. But kids, y'all gotta shut up. It's bad news listening to these people. When these media people are talking to you, it don't matter what you think of them. So many of them are bad news. They're alternative. They're the new alternative. Oh, it's just the man on the street. Oh, it's the guy you love the most. It's not the same. It went from mainstream to alternative to now, like, I can tell with the alt-right, they're trying to, like, put normal people in it. But it's still, like, just another alternative. But it's the same people who refuse to discuss anything. I mean, they're being put on the mainstream media for a reason, because they're part of this program. They're part of this show that's going on. And it's not a good thing to participate in. You're going to end up on the wrong side if you are protesting against guns to distract people. I mean, why don't you just shut up? And if you're liberals, why don't you shut up and stop killing Arabs? How about that? You don't deserve, you need to have a school shooter come shoot you all up. Because the world's sick of you guys. You guys are like doing all these distractions. Oh, I'm so important. Stop shooting me. But stop shooting everybody else. How about that? How about we stop shooting everybody else? How about we treat everyone else good, and we see if that doesn't just cure the problem on itself. You start trying to act civilized. Stop programming everyone to kill everyone, all the yellow people, all the brown people, all the German people, all the Russian people. Stop doing that. You don't deserve any frickin' rights. Any rights to not get shot at school. You deserve to get shot at school. I'm sick of this. It's so bullshit. The Americans just, me. And it's the liberals too. Like, the liberals are not really focusing on protecting these other nations. They pay lip service to it, but they're benefiting so much, and it's me. They put themselves first. So, children, your parents didn't tell you to shut up, so I'm going to have to tell you to shut up. You don't understand the gun issue. The gun issue is simply to shoot the terrorist government that you hate. That's why the guns are legal. You hate the government, the empire invading these other nations, and the guns are legal because the empire invaded the nation and tried to take the guns away and went poo poo, pew pew, and we killed them and we sent them running. We basically collapsed their empire. After that, it just took a short while and it was gone. And then we, of course, became the next leaders. So, we're just going to have to toughen up, drop out of school. This place is not teaching you good things. It's bad news. Your parents at home, tune them out if you got to, because they're obviously not educating you either. They don't, clearly these kids aren't being educated. So that's all there is. Just, kids, remember that adults run the country because adults built the country. They made everything here. And as a child, your undeveloped brain is unaware of so much stuff. You're being deceived, you're being tricked, you're being brainwashed on so many levels. You're being heavily medicated and drugged down. They are putting stuff in the food and water. I assure you of that. You can't even go to a fast food joint without getting something that's going to fill your arteries and kill you. There is no low-fat option at McDonald's. You're going to eat a couple pieces of lettuce and not put on your 25 grams of salad dressing fat. That's going to build some muscle, and help develop the neurons in your brain. Eating some water that's green. No, it's all bad. And the guns are what saves you from people like that if you decide to use them and go that route. The guns at least keep them scared from going just too far and starting to round people up and force working everyone, because empires don't hold themselves forever. 14 trillion in debt doesn't just go away when people are spending more and more and more, and the country just collapsing more and more and more. You gotta learn to shut up when adults are speaking.